The car wash on the corner of 5th and Madison had been operating for 11 years. It ran 3 shifts daily, employed 17 people, and processed an average of 200 vehicles per day, according to its business records. The owner filed taxes every year, paid employees through legitimate payroll systems, and maintained proper licensing with the state. From every visible angle, it was a normal small business in a mid-sized American city. But the financial records told a different story. A bank compliance analyst noticed the irregularity during a routine audit in February. The car wash reported monthly revenue that seemed high relative to the number of transactions processed through its point-of-sale system. The business claimed to earn $48,000 in January, but credit card receipts totaled only $19,000. The difference suggested substantial cash revenue that couldn't be verified through electronic payment records. The analyst flagged it as a potential reporting issue and sent a suspicious activity report to FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. The report sat in a queue with thousands of others until a DEA financial investigator conducting analysis on heroin trafficking patterns noticed something unusual. The car wash was one of 47 similar businesses across 6 states, all owned by companies registered to the same corporate address in Delaware. The network included car washes, restaurants, nail salons, parking lots, laundromats, and budget hotels. Each business operated legitimately, providing real services to customers. Each reported revenue levels that appeared profitable but not extraordinary. When analyzed individually, nothing triggered automatic alerts. But when examined as a connected network, the financial patterns became clear. The businesses were generating reported revenue that exceeded what their actual customer traffic could produce. A restaurant in Ohio reported serving 1,200 customers per week and earning $32,000. But surveillance showed the establishment was rarely more than half full during operating hours. The numbers didn't match the observed reality. Financial analysts pulled tax returns for all 47 businesses going back 5 years. Total reported revenue across the network was approximately $90 million during that period. The businesses paid taxes on this income, employed legitimate workers, and operated openly. But significant portions of the reported revenue appeared to be fabricated, representing drug proceeds being laundered through cash-intensive business operations. The investigation team traced ownership through layers of corporate structures. The businesses were registered to holding companies, which were owned by limited liability corporations, which were ultimately controlled by a small group of individuals with addresses in Florida, Texas, and California. These individuals had no apparent background in the service industries their companies operated. Several had prior criminal records for drug trafficking or money laundering. The pattern suggested a sophisticated money laundering operation designed to convert drug proceeds into apparently legitimate business income. Heroin sales generated cash that couldn't be deposited into banks without triggering reporting requirements. But cash from car washes, restaurants, and other service businesses could be deposited as normal business revenue. The businesses provided the mechanism to blend illegal proceeds with legitimate income. Surveillance teams began monitoring the businesses in April. The operations appeared normal during business hours. Customers came and went. Employees performed their jobs. The services provided were real. But after closing time, different patterns emerged. Individuals not on the employee roster would arrive at certain locations carrying bags or briefcases. They would enter through rear entrances and remain inside for varying periods before leaving. Investigators obtained court authorization to monitor financial transactions at selected businesses. The pattern became clear. On specific days each month, usually towards the end of reporting periods, the businesses would make large cash deposits that appeared as business revenue. A car wash would deposit $18,000 in cash one week, then $7,000 the next, then $23,000 the week after. The amounts varied, but stayed below reporting thresholds that would trigger automatic government scrutiny. The deposits were timed to create the appearance of normal cash flow variation in service businesses. Restaurants would report higher revenue on weekends. Car washes showed increased income during summer months. The patterns mimicked legitimate business cycles, but the actual cash being deposited came from drug sales rather than business operations. DEA analysts worked backwards from the deposits to to identify the source of the heroin being sold. Informant networks and street-level surveillance indicated that major heroin distribution in the affected cities was controlled by organizations with connections to Colombian suppliers. The drug entered the United States through ports in Florida and Texas, then moved north to markets in the Midwest and Southeast. The distribution network operated independently from the laundering operation, but used the same businesses as collection points. Street-level dealers would deliver cash proceeds to designated locations, often the same car washes and restaurants being used for laundering. The money was counted, documented, and prepared for deposit as business revenue. This integration of distribution and money laundering created operational efficiency, but also increased vulnerability if law enforcement identified the connection. Financial investigators traced international wire transfers from the business accounts to recipients in Colombia. The transfers appeared to be payments for wholesale goods, consulting services, or investment returns. Documentation supported the legitimate business purposes claimed for each transfer, but the timing and amounts corresponded with known patterns of drug trafficking proceeds being repatriated to source countries. The scale of the operation became apparent as investigators mapped the complete network. 47 businesses across Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky were processing an estimated $100 million in drug proceeds annually. The operation had been running for at least 6 years before detection. Total laundered proceeds likely exceeded $500 million over the network's operational lifetime. The sophistication extended to employment practices. Each business maintained legitimate payroll with documented employees who performed actual work. The employees were unaware their employer was using the business for money laundering. They showed up for shifts, served customers, cleaned cars, prepared food, and received paychecks. Their labor provided the legitimate business activity that made the laundering operation credible. Some businesses were more profitable than others at providing laundering services. Car washes proved particularly effective because they handled high volumes of small cash transactions that were difficult to verify. A car wash could claim to have serviced 40 vehicles in a day for cash payment, and there would be no independent record to contradict that claim. Restaurants required more elaborate record-keeping to justify reported revenue, including fake receipts and inventory purchases that matched claimed food sales. The network coordinators rotated deposit locations to avoid patterns that might attract scrutiny. One month, the majority of large cash deposits would go through car washes in Ohio. The next month, restaurants in Georgia would handle more volume. This distribution prevented any single business from showing unusual spikes in cash deposits that might trigger bank alerts. The businesses also served as meeting points for distribution coordinators. Surveillance teams observed individuals meeting at car washes and restaurants to discuss operations, exchange information, and coordinate activities. The legitimate business environment provided cover for these meetings. People gathering at a restaurant or sitting in a car wash parking lot attracted no attention in ways that meetings at isolated locations might have. The investigation required coordination across multiple DEA field offices and state agencies in 6 states. Each business needed surveillance to document actual customer traffic versus reported revenue. Financial subpoenas had to be executed on dozens of bank accounts. Interviews with employees provided information about business operations without alerting management to the investigation. The complexity of tracking 47 separate business entities across 6 states created substantial logistical challenges. The breakthrough came when investigators identified a central accounting firm that prepared tax returns for all 47 businesses. The firm was located in Miami and specialized in serving small cash-intensive businesses. Analysis of the accountant's records showed identical reporting patterns across businesses that should have been independent operations. The standardization suggested coordinated management rather than separate ownership. Undercover operations placed agents as customers at various locations to observe and document actual business volumes. An agent would visit a car wash, note how many vehicles were serviced during a 3-hour period, and compare that to revenue reported for the same period. The discrepancies were substantial. The businesses consistently reported revenue that was 40 to 60% higher than what observable customer traffic could generate. The heroin distribution network supplying the cash operated through typical urban drug trafficking structures. Street-level dealers sold to users in specific territories. Mid-level distributors supplied the dealers and collected proceeds. Regional coordinators managed multiple distribution cells and interfaced with the money laundering operation. The Colombian suppliers provided heroin on consignment, receiving payment after it was sold, and the proceeds were laundered. The financial investigation revealed that proceeds from heroin sales were being mixed with legitimate revenue at a ratio designed to appear credible. A car wash genuinely earning $20,000 per month in legitimate business would report $40,000, with the additional $20,000 representing laundered drug money. The ratio maintained plausibility while maximizing the amount of illegal proceeds that could be processed. The operational security employed by the network included compartmentalization, similar to the drug distribution structure. Business managers knew they were reporting inflated revenue, but weren't informed about the drug trafficking generating the excess cash. The individuals who collected money from dealers and delivered it to businesses didn't interact with those who made the deposits. Each participant had limited knowledge of the overall operation. The investigation identified 3 primary coordinators who managed the laundering network. These individuals controlled the business acquisitions, coordinated cash flows, managed accounting operations, and arranged international transfers. They operated from offices in Miami that appeared to be legitimate business consulting firms. Their apparent occupation was helping small business owners with financial management and tax preparation. The timeline for executing takedown operations required careful planning. If arrests began at some businesses before others were secured, coordinators could destroy evidence or flee. The operation needed to happen simultaneously across 6 states, hitting 47 locations and arresting key personnel before the network could react. Federal prosecutors prepared indictments charging money laundering, conspiracy, and operating a continuing criminal enterprise. The charges focused on the financial crimes rather than direct drug trafficking, though the drug connections were documented as the source of laundered proceeds. This approach allowed prosecution even if direct evidence of individual drug sales was limited. The coordinated raids occurred on a Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Federal agents and local police executed search warrants at all 47 businesses simultaneously. The operations ran smoothly at most locations. Employees arriving for work were surprised to find federal agents securing the premises. Many had no idea their employer was involved in criminal activity. The searches uncovered extensive documentation of the laundering operation, ledgers showing actual cash deposits versus reported revenue, records of payments to individuals not on official payroll, communications between coordinators discussing cash pickups and deposit schedules. The evidence was detailed enough to reconstruct the entire operation. Seizures included cash on hand at various businesses, totaling approximately $4 million. Bank accounts associated with the businesses and holding companies were frozen, securing an additional $19 million. Real estate assets, including the business properties themselves, were subject to civil forfeiture, representing property purchased with proceeds from illegal activity. 38 individuals were arrested across the 6 states. The charges varied based on each person's role. Coordinators faced the most serious charges with potential sentences of 20 to 30 years. Business managers who knowingly participated in the laundering scheme faced 10 to 15 years. Lower-level participants who handled cash deposits received lesser charges, some accepting plea agreements in exchange for testimony. The impact on the heroin distribution network was significant, but not permanent. The loss of money laundering infrastructure created immediate problems for trafficking organizations. They still generated cash from drug sales, but converting it to usable funds became more difficult. Alternative laundering methods existed, but they were less efficient and more expensive than the integrated business network. Street-level heroin prices increased slightly in affected markets as disruption of the laundering operation created financial pressure on distribution networks. Some dealers stopped operating temporarily while organizations restructured their financial operations. The effect lasted approximately 6 weeks before alternative arrangements restored normal distribution patterns. the legitimate employees of the 47 businesses faced uncertain futures. Some businesses were sold through civil forfeiture proceedings to new owners who continued operations legitimately. Others closed permanently, eliminating jobs in communities where employment options were already limited. Employees who had done nothing wrong lost income because their employers had been using the businesses for criminal purposes. The prosecution phase revealed details of how the network was established. The coordinators had identified cash-intensive business types most suitable for laundering, then systematically acquired businesses fitting that profile. Some purchases were legitimate business transactions. Others involved providing financing to business owners who struggled financially, creating dependency that later allowed the business to be used for laundering. The accountant who prepared taxes for all 47 businesses cooperated with prosecutors. His testimony described how he was instructed to create revenue reports that justified the cash deposits being made while maintaining sufficient credibility to avoid audit triggers. He explained the formulas used to determine how much fabricated revenue each business type could claim without attracting scrutiny. Financial experts calculated that the operation had successfully laundered approximately $500 million over 6 years. The 3 primary coordinators had received fees totaling approximately $40 million for managing the network. They lived comfortably, but not extravagantly, avoiding displays of wealth that might attract attention to their activities. The international component of the investigation led to cooperation requests with Colombian authorities. Identifying the drug suppliers who benefited from the laundering services proved challenging. The financial transfers went to businesses and individuals in Colombia who appeared legitimate. Proving they were connected to drug trafficking organizations required Colombian law enforcement action that developed slowly. The case became a model for investigating integrated drug trafficking and money laundering operations. Training materials developed from the investigation emphasized the importance of analyzing business networks rather than individual enterprises. The pattern of multiple similar businesses with common ownership structures became a red flag for financial investigators. Banking industry regulations were updated to enhance scrutiny of cash-intensive businesses, showing unusual deposit patterns. While individual businesses could still operate below reporting thresholds, connected networks of businesses owned by the same entities would face enhanced monitoring. The changes made this particular laundering methodology more difficult to execute. The insurance industry responded by implementing enhanced underwriting for certain business types in areas with known drug trafficking activity. The legitimate business owners who were unaware their enterprises were being used for laundering faced difficulty obtaining coverage because insurance companies viewed the business types as higher risk. The communities where the businesses operated had mixed reactions. Some residents expressed relief that criminal operations had been shut down. Others lamented the loss of services and jobs when businesses closed. The car washes, restaurants, and other establishments had been part of the community fabric. Their criminal use didn't change the fact that they had provided legitimate services people relied on. 3 years after the raids, most of the businesses had transitioned to new ownership or closed permanently. 17 were operating under new management as legitimate enterprises. 23 had been sold and converted to different business types. 7 remained vacant, unable to attract buyers willing to invest in properties associated with criminal activity. The coordinators who managed the network received sentences ranging from 18 to 28 years in federal prison. Their convictions sent a message about the consequences of operating large-scale money laundering networks. But they also understood that others would step into their roles, building new networks to serve the continuing demand for money laundering services in the drug trade. The investigation demonstrated that effective money laundering operations required sophisticated business acumen, not just criminal intent. The individuals who built the network understood accounting, banking regulations, business operations, and tax law. They applied that knowledge to create a system that functioned effectively for years before detection. The heroin that generated the cash being laundered continued flowing into American communities. The distribution networks adapted to the loss of their laundering infrastructure and found alternative methods to convert drug proceeds into usable funds. The fundamental economics driving both drug trafficking and money laundering remained unchanged.